And the chair will take the liberty, because this is the senator, to allow him to speak.
No time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have y'all received the letter that I sent by email today?
I
Thank you.
just got it, but I hadn't read it, but yeah, I scanned it, but yes, sir.
Oh, you just got it. Well, I'm going to read it, and then I'll make a few comments, and happy
Yes,
to
sir.
answer any questions that anyone may have, address any issues. But this is addressed to Councilman York Glover, the chairman of this committee. Dear Chairman Glover, as the South Carolina senator that represents St. Helena Island, I wish to express my strong opposition to a proposed zoning amendment application and development agreement that would carve Pine Island out of Beaufort County's current cultural protection overlay zone standards. I represent one half of South Carolina's coast, from Bulls Bay in Charleston County to Port Royal Sound in Beaufort County. As a fifth-generation low-country native and avid outdoorsman, I know this coast like the back of my hand. St. Helena Island is unquestionably South Carolina's most culturally rich and consequently its most culturally vulnerable sea island. It is at the heart of South Carolina's Gullah Geechee culture that is suffering gentrification everywhere else along the coast. From St. Helenaville, where freed slaves settled during and after the Civil War, to the Penn Center, where generations received the education they had so long been denied, to historic and bountiful Port Royal and St. Helena Sounds that supplied their subsistence, to Martin Luther King's covert meetings at the Penn Center during the Civil Rights Movement. The history and heritage of the Gullah Geechee culture is inextricably intertwined with St. Helena. The proposed zoning amendment application and development agreement is a threat to this rich and irreplaceable cultural heritage. I announced at the Penn Center's 160th anniversary celebration in 2022 that Representative Michael Rivers and I secured almost $2 million for Penn Center renovations to further its important work. I subsequently secured $1 million appropriation for a Gullah Geechee Cultural Center and Market on St. Helena to preserve and showcase Gullah Geechee culture. Retreating from CPO protections at this juncture would be at odds with these state appropriations designed to preserve St. Helena's rich cultural heritage and history. The current CPO has protected St. Helena from gentrification experienced everywhere else along our coast, most of it in my district. In its wisdom, County Council plotted a different course for St. Helena years ago, a path that values and preserves its immeasurably rich history, culture, and natural resources. I employed the Natural Resource Committee and County Council at large to stay the course. Thank you for your consideration and for your service to beautiful, historic Beaufort County. And one other issue, as I was driving here from Bennett's Point, it's 10 miles away from my place at Bennett's Point, but it takes over an hour to drive. Thank God for that. If we had bridges across these inlets in the southern part of the state, we'd look like Charleston and Myrtle Beach. One other thing that comes to my mind, though, as I was driving, if you do grant this exception, if you accept this application, which creates an exception to the overlay district, what will be the limiting principle going forward? What is the criteria? How can you reject someone else's request? What will be your limiting principle? In my view, I think there would be no limiting principle, which means that other developers would step forward wanting to do similar things, and the cultural overlay district would really go away. Now, I'll be happy to take any questions.
The senator is here, and it's unusual to have a senator, so if anybody have a question for the senator, we can entertain those questions or comments and stuff, but other than that, we would just want to thank you, so,
Well,
go ahead.
I'd like to say
Yes, sir.
couple other things. Number one, I listened to Mike McShane, who's my good
Yeah.
friend and ally in conservation. In fact, I authored the South Carolina Conservation Bank Act that has protected almost 500,000 acres in South Carolina. And there's no county in the state, because I keep track of this, but there's no county in the state that has done more for conservation, to augment that funding, because I was proud to have co-sponsored Tom Davis's bill that created the sales tax revenue for conservation. There's no other county in the state of South Carolina who is as committed and puts their money where their mouth is when it comes to conservation. And I applaud y'all for that, and I think now is not the time to retreat from that commitment. And I'll end, and since no one's going to ask questions, I'll speak a little. I'm a senator, I'm going to speak a little longer, okay? Really. But I'm going to end with a quote. One of my favorite quotes regarding conservation was from John Sawhill, who was the president of the Nature Conservancy. He was also the president of NYU and also of the Nature Conservancy subsequently in life. And John Sawhill said this, and I've taken it to heart as something that has really motivated me when it comes to my passion for conservation. John Sawhill said this: a society is defined not only by what it creates, but also by what it refuses to destroy. And I would implore County Council to take heed of Sawhill's words of wisdom and don't destroy what you have done thus far, on beautiful, historic St. Helena Island. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator, for taking time to come down. We appreciate you visiting Beaufort. The next person on this list is Jared Madison. Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Council.